Hi, folks. Casual Dad here with more Warhammer Combat cards. And I just wanted to shout out a specific challenge that I've gone ahead and undertaken in the Space Marine Decks chat in Discord, in the Warhammer Combat Cards Discord over, I think, mid of last week. Um, and shout out to Discord user Veribaka said it's very difficult to get far with the Lion in ranked. And now I being trying to figure out a nice way to say dumb, but we're not going to go there. I said challenge accepted, even though there was no challenge remotely thrown down. And what Veribaka said was totally true, that it is challenging to get high ranked with the ladder in the usual 200-point ranked deck mode. Um, but yeah, it was one of those moments where in the chat we were discussing deck builds with the Lion, and I wanted to go ahead and take a crack at it and see if I can get high on the ladder with a relatively low level Lion, even though the rest of my cards are fairly high level, just to kind of see where it winds up. And it has been fun, and it has been, as anyone would predict, has been very challenging. But let's go ahead and I'll talk about the deck in a minute. So the goal, so Veribaka was a great sport and didn't call me out for taking a challenge where none was given, but asked to set a term. So we said the challenge was to get to 3.5k trophies, 3,500 trophies, which I don't think I'm going to get. Oh man, and especially against Zeemut. I don't want to play the Lion at all until I absolutely have to because of Zeemut's trait there. That dead shot would make very short work of my Lion. So I have to make sure that Zeemut plays before the Lion does, so that dead shot is cleared. And I got wiped, but I am higher level than this, so this should be an easy win. And now, as you can see, I'm pretty low trophy count. So one of the challenges in this is I only have a limited amount of time left, so I'm playing quite a bit. I think I only have 1 week left to go ahead and finish this to get up to that 3K trophy count before this gets pushed to next season. So we'll see if we get there. But no, shout out to Veribaka for being a really good sport about this and saying, sure, here's your goal. I didn't challenge you to anything, but you know. But okay, so I said I'm going to try and get to 3K. I'm going to go ahead and try to get to 3,000 trophies with the Lion and see just how much of a challenge that is, because it should be completely doable. But of course, it is tough. One thing that I really enjoy about challenges like this, now that I've taken it on myself, is that with most warlords in ranked, you just cram in your most powerful bodyguards, your best bodyguards. I think I've talked about this before. But you just put in your best bodyguards, and the bodyguards do the bulk of the work, and you take a trait from your warlords that'll benefit them the most. Now, with the Lion, and with all Supreme Commanders, but particularly the Lion, because the warlord itself is so expensive, you really have to work hard to get as much possible efficiency out of your cards. You don't just want the most powerful cards, you can't possibly fill a deck with that. So you can see I'm shaving as close to 20 points per card as I can get with some of the really powerful pieces in here. Now, of the cards I've got here, of course, you have to have the Lion. My Lion is level 5, so I'm at the point where I actually feel pretty good about doing this, although higher level would be better, of course. And then, of course, I personally think that this guy is probably the single best card that you can take in a Lion deck. The combination of good range, good melee, good hit points, budget for what he brings, and then also both Furious Charge, but then more importantly, regen, so he can stay in that attacking first range for longer. He's a really, really strong piece because you do need some of that sustain. You need your cards to punch a lot harder than they take damage back. So that's where that efficiency really comes in here. Now, I've also got Brother Ezio in here because I've got a good high level Ezio, and he's good. And this is one of the things where I had actually just stumbled across this when the conversation came up, and we were talking about who was going to put in the deck, who was going to do well. And I was finding that Berserk is actually a really good budget way to have some heavy hitters in the deck without spending too many deck points. And so I've got this guy in here too to try it out. But I have found that Ezio, with the slightly higher hit points, really does make more of an impact more quickly. And he starts with that higher melee as well. So far, those two have been in here as my budget pieces to get some heavy hitters in the deck without breaking the points bank. And of course, the double Medicae to keep everything alive. And then the parts that I'm most questioning in this, the parts that I think could have the most play, are going to be your 20-point slot, because Space Marines have a lot of stuff in the 20-point slot. And if I had them at high level, in a second, I would take the Marine that has Inspiring Presence and Shields. He would be a much better choice in this case, but I have him at level 5, so I'm not even really close to where I need to be. But this guy right there is about where I'd consider replacing him in the place of the guy I've got now, and if you get him up to here, game on. He's incredible. So as you can see, I've got this guy instead, who doesn't have shields, has a little bit more hit points, especially later on. Who I do have level 3 Inspiring Presence with, but if I could swap this guy out for that guy, I would be pumped. And now I previously had this guy in here in the 20-point slot as just a really, really, really efficient 20 points. But you can see his hit points are a little bit lower. His ready is very helpful, but it doesn't apply to ranged attacks, and it doesn't apply for more than that first turn, where if you get multiple turns with him on the board, that Inspiring Presence is more impactful. So that has been a really good switch, and one of the more recent ones I did. So let's go ahead and play some games here. And one of the things I'm really loving about this, one of the reasons I was so quick to take up this challenge, is I was already kind of trying it and considering, how do I get the most out of the lion? How do I get as high as I possibly can here? And I already had the deck partly built. I was excited to try it out. And it was just one of those moments where the informal challenge gives me a little bit of extra motivation to go ahead and do this. And now there are some really bad matchups, but for the most part, the lion is pretty good. And the attack first mechanic is good, but then the double attack when the lion himself is on the table is absolutely huge. And I've been really loving that part. That's been great. And we'll see that come in clutch in probably quite a few of the games I'm going to go ahead and play. Who has 40? Probably none of them. Nice. Ooh, that was not good because of that. That was pretty good. So the part I'm talking about is going to be when the lion attacks first. So the first thing that's going to do damage to him, he'll kill. And this is an amazing matchup for that, because he would kill this guy. He would kill Njal before anything else happened, which would be great. Now, I don't need that in this matchup, but I could have easily. So it's a handy ability to have. You're going to see it play in here where it didn't trigger. That was strange. The first time enemy turn, this warlord will be attacked. A random friendly card makes a melee attack against the attacking card before the... So one of them should have been hit before... When that psionic blast went off, I should have just attacked one of them. That was weird. Developers, I hope you're watching, and I hope you saw that, because that was strange. But that attack first with your bodyguards has been absolutely clutch for me in a lot of my close games, and I'm already getting close games, and I'm not even at 2K trophies. But it's been really clutch because it can stop you from taking extra damage, keep you from stripping that last shield, really make you hyper efficient at the end of a game when you really need to push through, and you're probably overmatched because opposing decks just have more points to play with in terms of their bodyguards, especially in those worst matches. We'll see what we got here. I'll see if I can get that to trigger this next time, because I want to make sure you get to see it, because I love that mechanic, and it's very important in making this work. Ooh, yuck. It's low level, but still, that's going to hurt. Okay. Yeah, so you have to be very careful about what attack type you use, where you deploy what, how you time everything. And I'm definitely making some mistakes. And every time you make a mistake, even once in an individual game, it can cost you it can cost you that game. And then that can actually hurt your chances of getting the achievement I'm going for at all. I think we'll go ahead and do this. You do a lot of readying, so if you're not going up against psychers, you can get away with that a little more. And now again, I am fairly low level at this point, so I'm doing a lot of these and having a pretty comfortable time because I'm over leveled. Yeah, we'll do it just to get that guy on the right. Boom, and we'll see if we can get this to go. I don't think it's going to pull off again. I think I'm just going to get him. Yeah. And so I also enjoy playing the lion early because he has the stats to absorb this, and that is also a way where you get the most out of those bonus attacks where bodyguards are defending him at that end beast. So we didn't get that to trigger, but again, I've got to play a lot of games to go ahead and make up a lot of trophies. The good news... Dogs are going crazy. Let's check on that. right, don't know what that was, but we're good here. Okay, I don't remember where I was, so we're just going to keep playing and hop right back in and cruise on through it. Yes, so I was talking about how I like playing the line a little bit early to get those bonus attacks off, to be extra efficient and get as much as I can possibly squeeze out of this deck and these bodyguards before I run out of time where I lose. I love feeding Ezio to something that'll charge him up a bit. When I was starting out with this, when I was first testing it, I had Ezio routinely swinging for like 200 ranged at the end of a match, just because he was taking so much chip damage and was building up so much with that Berserk. I'm really looking forward to getting him to rank 4 Berserk, which is going to be a minute, but we're close. And interesting decks here. I enjoy playing at the lower ranks. It is a lot easier, so it's hard to get a sense of how challenging games are actually going to be, but you do get to see some stuff you just don't see at upper ranks. Bummer. And we'll see what lofty height I can get Ezio to this time. So there, he's already hitting for 55 ranged. 123 melee. Yeah, so the Inspiring Presence plus the Berserk plus the attack first on Ezio, he's really good. The one downside is that if you attack first, you're actually attacking after. So you get your damage buff after you attack, which is pretty funny. That's not something I ever thought would be a problem, but in some matches it really is. And here he's just swinging in the wing, so this is an easy match, but I really want to get that bonus attack to trigger, but I'm not going to get to it here. Hopefully we get to a tougher match before I sign off on the video, but it's just going to be a second. Didn't attack. Come on, man. Yeah, Ezio 144, 65. Respectable. Yeah, that Berserk really does pay off in this case because you get that combination of hyper efficiency, the double meta K, and he's already got high hit points. But again, I am also doing easier matchups, so it's not necessarily a fair assessment of how good that actually is. So let's jump in here. We'll play one more, and then I'll go ahead and hop off. Maybe we'll play a couple more. We'll see. We'll go until we get a really interesting game. I'll chainsaw through some of the easier ones and see how high we can get here. And who knows? Who knows? Maybe we get high enough where we actually get to 3K tonight. Probably not, but we'll give it a try. Akaran is a problem. He's a really tough warlord for efficiency, just because he is probably the most efficient warlord in the game. And you feel that. Like, the attack back is really good, but you have to ready really aggressively. And that was a really devastating attack. And I can't. This is where, against most warlords, I would hit him back and clear this stuff before it counterattacks me. But I can't because Akaran. I really want to keep Ezio alive. We'll see if I'm able to do that. Give him that debuff. The melee debuffs, checking your debuffs for the lion is really, really helpful because it can make all the difference. And this guy's way lower level than me too. So getting beat up this badly already is frightening. Now he's played a lot of points, so there can't be much left in there. So we're going to go ahead and get risky. We're going to play the lion early, especially against a big game hunter, and then be very conservative here. Nice. And there you saw that bonus attack from Adrax. Got this guy down with his extra Akaran life before he attacked. I'll do a little ranged. I am doing really well with the amount of health that he's got here, and then we got that bonus attack over there. So that is why, nice, and that's not going to trigger because it isn't dead shot. Now I should have this pretty handily just because of card levels, but as I get higher and closer to that 3K trophy target that I'm trying to get to, it's going to be a lot tougher to go ahead and get through this because I'm almost exclusively going up against decks that have lower levels than I do. And it's working out fairly well up to now. And the biggest challenge is going to be time, where I can certainly get to the trophy count that I'm trying to get to. I can get that far. It's not a problem. It's just going to be a matter of, is it a complete and total waste of time doing it within the current season. Like, will I be here for a month trying to get enough games through to actually get that high? Because there is going to be that ceiling where I start losing more than I'm winning. And it's a matter of how close I get to that 3K before I get there. And it's going to get really bad at that 2,500 trophy mark. One advantage I have here, though, is that I'm not actually in Terra. So my matches are going to be much easier, and I am deliberately not playing anyone but the Lion to see if staying out of Terra actually makes the later matches with this up into that 3K space easier. It is going to get a little boring playing nothing but the Lion, but luckily he's a really interesting, very strategic warlord to play, so I'm having a good time. Already at 2K. Go ahead and see here. And target acquired. We don't like that. And infantry, we don't like that either. Okay, we'll start here. Good. Okay, that helped a lot. And these are highly leveled cards. This is an awful matchup. And with the number of cards left in that Greyfax deck, there's not a whole lot left there. So I wonder what else is in here. And I kind of have to punch this. This is where I would ready, and I can't ready because he's got all the Psychic in there. We're going to go ahead and gamble and play the Lion early and try to get those bonus attacks as much as possible. It's a problem with these guys because that is going to strip my shield sooner than later. And there you saw the bonus attack go off on the Psionic Blast, which is what I was expecting before, and for whatever reason I didn't see it. I really need to take these guys down. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I actually got a kill out of that because of the bodyguard attack from the Lion, but this is going to suck. I think Greyfax may actually take me down. Ah, man, and here we're so close. If Ezio had enough melee damage to take him out, that really would make a difference. But as it stands now, and here, so this is just doing the math on this one. So if Ezio could kill him, that would be amazing. That would really help. If the Lion had enough to actually hurt Greyfax enough that one of these guys on the sides could actually kill her on the counterattack on her turn, that would be massive. So our best move is to go ahead and go melee, and then to really hope that the attack first is actually enough to take her down, and it's not. Even with Inspiring Presence, she's going to have like 20 hit points left on the board here. But so Sonic Blast, he's going to die before he does it. And I used the bonus attack. Okay, so that was an awful matchup because the bonus hit points on Greyfax made it really tough to punch through those guys. The anti-infantry chewed up everything I had because I'm going budget, so everything is infantry. Target acquired took out one of my cards early. There was just a lot of stuff I didn't want to play anywhere, and it just took too long to chew through that. So that's an example of a really bad matchup. Acheron is one, Greyfax is another. We're going to go ahead and keep going a bit and see where we get. So we're already seeing some of the backsliding. Right now, I think I'm 3-1 on average, where I'm getting about 3 wins for every loss, which is good. I'm still progressing very quickly, but I'm just barely in that 2K range, or not even anymore. And it's just going to get harder from here. Apologies for that. Ooh. This is where it's tricky too. When you're running Supreme Commander ladder decks, they're thin, so you don't really have the cards that you need to have disposable bodyguards. I have some, but there's nothing I would be okay with not getting a trait off. Wow, that hurts. That was a lot of damage. And I do have the range debuff to maybe survive again, but I don't think I do. That is a level 2 Starseeker, dang. Now it's a thin deck, so I've got an okay chance here. And again, I think I'm going to go ahead and go Lion early so I can kill this guy in the middle. Maybe take out one of the wings, actually, because Ezio's got... Oh, man. Okay, yes. So take that guy out in the middle. And he deployed in the middle, so it's going to turn off the Lion's counterattacks. Bummer. Okay. And then we're going to keep doing that because he's going to keep turning off my counterattacks. Now, the good news about that, though, is that when that wears off, assuming I'm still alive, the Lion is going to be hitting really, really hard, or he'll have his shields back. So I'll get my shields back, but then just in time for that to happen and take them away again. Ooh. Not great. Oh, that is good. But I still, yeah, he's got me. Dang. Okay. Oof. Man, another bad matchup just because of positioning. And I think I probably played the Lion too early, But without him, I don't know that I could have taken. Yeah, I would have done better. Okay, I should have played the Inspiring Presence guy first. And that's an example of how badly you can make a call and have it be very wrong. We'll keep on going. And I'm going to do like an end report on this and see how we went. But I wanted to go ahead and document this in part just because I really enjoyed the interaction with Veribaka. And I was just a complete fool, but it still ended in a positive way. All involved were really good. Genuinely terrific person to interact with. A premium grade A, high quality, random internet stranger Veribaka is. Artemis. I haven't played against Artemis at all in doing this. Dante. Level 5 Dante. Yikes. Okay. On the note of Dante, we actually had a conversation in the Discord following this up, wondering why we didn't get a Supreme Commander Dante in the game yet, which I am sure we will. Wow, that sucks. It's one of those things where I'm pretty sure he's coming, because we did have the Blood Angels Codex, confirmed that was late last year. So it's definitely out in the wild, and the releases usually coincide with the releases of the codices. My theory, my total harebrained out of nowhere theory, is that we haven't gotten that codex yet because either just because of timing, because of the holidays, maybe there wasn't enough design space to get them there, or maybe because there's a mechanical thing that they want Dante to do as a Supreme Commander that isn't in the game yet. And so they're waiting for the design to catch up, for the features to catch up with what they want to do with him, which is pretty great. I'm hoping that's what's actually going on. And ouch, but this should be an easy win. He's the one I don't want hitting me. Yeah, okay. Because all we have to do is take down Artemis before he gets the shields and kills the lion, and especially with that attacking first bit, should not be a problem. Yeah, bam. Boop. Easy peasy, although there was a little bit of a clenching moment there when he did wipe my board. And when I started this, my Space Marines were at like 300 trophies, so it's already been a bit of a slog getting them up to the moment where they actually were impactful on the score at all. But that was good. If all of my decks were at low trophy count, these would be easier to get. Excuse me. Again, just because I would be able to kind of cheese the system a little bit and have a low overall trophy count and not be in Terra while I'm progressing. So my one faction could get to a very high trophy count while my matches would still be somewhat lower because I'm not in Terra. I think, I'm fairly certain that you do get tougher matches when you're in Terra, regardless of how high your trophy count is, and you get lower difficulty matches when you're not in Terra, regardless of the trophy count of your individual factions, I think. So if you play with a single faction, you should have an easier time getting high ranked with it than you would if you actually spread out your trophies and get high up in the ladder. I love being able to do that, just ready and smack these guys. I'm a little concerned about this because the Supreme Commander Baden himself is very scary. Oh, come on. And I did that kind of on purpose because I want to drop a Medicaid to keep Ezio alive, and I want to keep him away from the fear thing. This guy is so good. And he doesn't work in every single deck, it doesn't work in every single case, but he's really, really strong for the points. And it's really cool to see that, just this very basic fundamentals card be a really powerful piece. Pure melee, fairly cheap. It's just cool to see that, and I really appreciate his role in the game. All right, sweet. So that went well. A nasty Black Legion Supreme Commander Abaddon deck, and we got it, and it's going to be one we were not favored to get, so a nice chunk of trophies there. I had one matchup really early where I think I had a win streak where I was up against a deck that I had a comfortable matchup against, and I had like 1,700 trophies, and he had 2,400, which I have no doubt this deck is going to get to that at least. But yeah, that was that I got 100 trophies out of winning that one. And I should be narrating my individual deployment decisions a little bit more. I'm playing fast to try to get more games in, so I'm not necessarily talking through my decisions anytime, unless they're especially hard ones. But I want to try to get better about that. So I like to play Agdrax early because he's got that regen, he's got that sustain. I like to put the Medicaid down to give him a top off and keep him go. Oh boy. And then this guy is my most expendable card, so I tend to put him down if there's something I don't want to fight, which there is something I don't want to fight. Woof. That's going to hurt. He's level 4. I was going to say only level 4, but he's level 4, and it's a very frightening piece. Now, the good thing is, though, this is against Abaddon, non-Supreme Commander, and the typical way to play that is you play Abaddon himself early and put your taunts down to keep him alive. And the taunts already being on the table is really good for me, because that means I have better odds of getting Abaddon himself vulnerable by the time he gets on the table. Although I am going to trade Agrax to do it. Yeah, Adrax. Atrax? Bloody blah. And now I could and probably should do this, but then that'll give him... So that'll kill this guy and do some extra damage to him and pull Abaddon, and it will let him do some damage before he dies. And I really do need my cards to do additional damage before they die. We're going to go ahead and... Oh, man. Does he still have Furious Charge? No, but there are 2 cards in there, and one of them may have Furious Charge. We'll try it. We'll risk it. Nope. Good. Okay. That actually was really good for me. So I can top these guys off and let them build up some extra attack and counterattack first against these guys. I'm not getting through the knight, but that's okay. I don't need to take down the knight. I need to keep a flank and make my dudes as powerful as possible on that flank. And right now, even though this guy's chewing through me, I'm getting a bunch of extra stuff built up. There we go, another early lion play, and now I'm nervous about those. No, that'll be good. So I'll take out a flank. I'll almost kill the knight so that my counterattack should be really impactful moving forward. So I may kill both of these. Boom. Nice. Okay. And then we got that extra attack. Ezio hit twice. 166. We got it. Oof. Okay. Skin in my teeth. But I love that. I've been talking in several videos about how most of the latter seasons is not terribly challenging because I expect to win nearly all of my games. Because with the competitive decks I have, the games don't get challenging until I get to Upper Terra, which takes a lot of grinding to get there. So having the entire progression be this like very much nail biting, like, ooh, am I making the right deployment decision, the right deck building decision, all the way up? That's pretty fun. I'm enjoying this a lot. Okay, we've broken back up to 2,100. I believe we have 100 trophies over where we started. No, I think I might have been 1,900, so we're doing a little bit better than that. But still, I'm concerned about my progression. This is against another Supreme Commander, which works out great for me because, again, the matches have been swinging in my favor and are very likely to continue to do so if I'm up against another Supreme Commander. I'm not anywhere near as scared of Guilliman as I am of a lot of other warlords out there. But you never know, I could get a surprise. And you can see me shuffling stuff around. A big part of it is I'm trying to move my hitters around to give them the best chance at surviving and getting really beneficial counterattacks. It does suck I'm taking psychic damage over here, but Adrax's regen is letting him stay in the point where he's attacking back even after he dips below that some of the time. Ezio is going to swing for the fences. Go ahead and get Guilliman down a little bit because this is low level Guilliman. That's a little lion time to get that outflank. And the outflank is a really tactical piece. That's a very helpful tool. And he does not have enough range to take this out in the counterattack when Guilliman shoots me. He does. I don't want to attack him yet because I don't want to lose my shields too early. I think I have 2. Yeah, I still have 2, so I'm not really concerned. But still, that was why I made that choice, was I don't want to lose my shields yet. And I'm trying to build good habits here so that it'll be reflex when I get to more challenging matches that I'll take the safer option or the most efficient option when the time comes. We may get to 2,200 here. I don't want this video to be too long because I only have the one thing to talk about. Oh yeah, let's do that. Let's do a pack opening break. And the Lion is just such a cool character and such a cool model. My God. And I love the rule inside Warhammer combat cards. He's one of my favorite mechanically. one of my favorite warlords mechanically at all, let alone of the Supreme Commanders. I find playing with him to be really interesting, and I enjoy the challenge of being competitive with him in general, but especially in ladder play. In PvP, it's tough. I haven't really tried him much. After this, I definitely will, because this is the most practice I've gotten with the Lion since he was released. Yeah, in max level games, it's much harder to figure out what's going on. In a max level and full collection thing, oh boy, scary Greyfax. There's a limited number of deck combinations that you can take that will legitimately give you a chance of winning. That was a lot of crazy words I threw in there together, but long story short, it's much, much harder to compete in PvP, or there's a much narrower band of effective builds than in the other game modes, which is a bummer. Wow, that hurt a lot. And this is tough because this, oh wow, nasty. Super high power deck. This is tough because I don't have anything that counterattacks in Psychic. And that's definitely an issue with this deck. It's a huge weakness of this deck is that most of the utility in it is coming from your counterattacks. And if you're not getting your counterattacks, it's a much harder time. Ah, man. And if Ezio had max level Berserk, this is the second game against Greyfax where he's just that couple points of damage away from finishing off a flanking guard. And without that, I still wouldn't have beaten that game, but it could make a difference down the road. Okay, so that is about right, where I'm losing 1 in every 4 games, give or take. And so far, the games I'm losing are against decks that are rated higher than me. So that's good. That does help with the progression. It means I'm not going to get slapped down too hard. If I start losing games against decks that are rated worse than me, that's when I really have to start worrying that the time is just not there to actually finish this out. Ulthakar. Well, we can ready the heck out of this one. The day Necrons get some sort of response to Psychic is the day things get dramatically harder. I don't think there's any Necrons have 0 defense against their opponent readying. And that kind of goes back to the PvP points we're talking about. It's pretty rare to see Necrons at PvP because they aren't. I keep trying to think for a better word, but really it's dynamic. You think about they're not dynamic enough to really serve in PvP because they can't respond fully to a lot of the stuff in there. They don't have good counters. They don't have Psionic Blast. They don't have a ton of poison. They can get past stuff, and Trazen especially is good, but against like the shield spam and some of the other stuff you see in PvP, it's really challenging for Necrons to really stand out. PvP is completely dominated by Space Marines, especially shield spam, unfortunately, but that is the way it is right now. Look at that hit, my god. Gotta keep Ezio alive here. He is definitely my hard hitter. Now, if he does melee, we got the melee debuff. Okay, I was just looking that this guy has enough to kill Ezio outright if I let him get away with it. Oh, crap. Okay. I've got a lot of melee damage here. Now it's Ulthakar. I need to get 2 kills. I'm going to do this. Oh, and it was his turn. That was a mistake. I don't think I fully registered that it was his turn. There it is. Love that. Love that bonus attack. Got Medicae. Yeah, let's take him down. And there's just going to be 1 bodyguard and then Ulthakar, and I still have 2 shields. 2 shields, nice. Level 6. One thing about some of the older warlords like Ulthakar, when I see them played, I expect to see them at a higher level. I expect to, and the shields are down, but we get our attack first. When I see them, I expect not to be a level 1 or 2, but like a 6 or a 7 on average, as opposed to the newer warlords that tend to be much lower level. And of course, if a player started recently, the warlord's going to be low level either way, but on average, in general, older warlords are higher level, even if the player is lower level. Yeah, let's see. Ezio's not even close to getting a level. Even if it was to be hit points, which would be helpful, but he only gains 10, being common. If I get him up to max level, it's a party. Only gains a little bit more, but getting that extra, what was that? Yeah, the extra +2. Very small, but over the course of the game, we're talking about very small differences in like stats and numbers making a lot of difference when they add up. So for every bonus attack he gets, having the little bit of extra damage, the extra hit points to soak more, the higher percentage bonus for Ready's Inspiring Presence and Medicae all really would make a difference. So up against Acheran, I hope it's a crappy Acheran. It is a low level Acheran. Maybe. Yeah, low level Acheran. Okay. Heal up. Nice. Ready all day long. Now, one thing that's a bummer here is the traits that I'm leaning on the most also mostly are percentage based. And because the stats in these cards aren't great because they're all budget cards, that's a big challenge. I do really, really appreciate the Warlord rotation here, that you're not really supposed to see a Warlord more than, I think, 10 games in a row. So if I've played Acheran in the past 10 games, I shouldn't run up against another Acheran. It's not perfect, but it does a decent job of doing that, and it's nice. It's a nice change over what it used to be, where you could go up against the same Warlord over and over and over again. And that's really helping me progress here. And that'll make it easier to progress in the ladder in general than it was even fairly recently. Nice. I thought this guy was going to die, which I think he still is. Oh man, this guy lives wild. Okay. This is my, wow, level 1. Level 3. Okay, but only a single shield. We're still getting there. Onward and upward. I'm going to play one more game and hope for a challenging one, and we'll see if we can get to Phalanx, and we'll have that be our cutting off point. Dun 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 dun. Bahamut. That's a very dramatic cosmetic there. And I do kind of want to put Ezio in a little bit of danger because I do want him to build up some attack stats sooner than later so that his attack backs are really good, so that I have a little bit more utility from him when I'm deciding my turns. But it's a big risk, and I don't like to lose him too much. I don't think that having him and the other Berserk card in the same deck are really the best choice, because I think they're a little bit redundant, but that's something I haven't really figured out a better solution for yet. There we go. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Taking a beating there, buddy. And that is good. So that means that we're not really losing much to Shadow Sun coming in and healing everyone. Oh yeah, awesome. So the counterattack when she shoots me is actually probably going to kill her. Boop. Okay, cool. So Phalanx, we did it. Got a little bit more to go. We've got another like 8 or 900 trophies to get through to break my goal of the 3K. We'll see if I'll get there, and I'll do an update soon. If you're still with me, thank you for being here. Wish me luck.